Okay, today we are playing a game on Hanamura. We are playing Zarya the entire way through, and there is no SR for today's game because it was a placement game, which is a fantastic excuse to say I don't care about the team comp, and therefore don't have to do any video editing. Because, who knows, we could be in bronze, pff, who cares? We aren't in bronze, but we could be in bronze, so who cares? Whatever. So we've got to attack Hanamura first, which is always super fun, attacking any of the two CP maps. But what we've already immediately learned is that their tanks are Roadhog Zarya, which immediately makes walking through the gate a lot easier because they don't have a main tank. There's also, I believe, a Torbjorn in here somewhere. Yep, there's a Torbjorn over there somewhere, apparently. It's okay, they don't have a tank, right? They have two tanks, technically. You know, when they pushed that tab button, they saw 222. And then that was all they needed. Their brains deployed the endorphins, and they were like, oh yeah, perfect team composition. Even though the two tanks were Roadhog Zarya. That's what happened right there. Because people are simple in that respect. I know I'm simple in that respect. So, we just kind of walked through the door, and killed all the bad men, pretty much. And we're probably going to get this Hanzo. He's going to be pretty staggered. Oh, no. We don't need to worry. We can keep going for the Hanzo. So we got the Hanzo. He's pretty staggered compared to the others. And, you know, we still have to capture the checkpoint, so it's not exactly the end of the world that happened. But hey, if you can stagger someone, that's great. So now, we just pushed tab. Did they change to have a real tank? No, they did not. Fantastic news, boys. They did not change to a real tank. And we've got ultimates to use now, and they still don't have a real tank. Oh, wouldn't it be nice to just snowball right over them on the second checkpoint? That's exactly what's going to happen. Because we're just going to run straight onto the objective. Hanzo's got his ultimate, but we've got a lot more than just Hanzo's ultimate to work with. We don't have our ultimate right now as Zarya, but I mean, we came here with 4 ultimates, so that's a pretty textbook snowball on the second checkpoint right there. And like, oh, look, now they have a tank. Oh, look, here's Reinhardt. Wow. If only they had him 2 minutes ago. Wouldn't it have been so much harder to make all this progress we've been making right now? Ooh. Who did we bubble a second ago? We should, you know, make an effort to actually, like, learn at some point, shouldn't we? Now, we tried to bubble this man. But the only person threatening Lucio right now is a Roadhog that's taking a breather, so not even really threatening him. So the bubble ends up doing no good for us at all right there. And, hey, it turns out now, we'd really like to have that bubble available, wouldn't we? He's over there. I'm trying to point over there, he's up there, yeah, that's the one. That guy. We'd like to bubble him right now. Sometimes when you're playing Zarya, you have to parse out a fair amount of what's happening in the fight kinda quickly. But, like, if the only person threatening the dude is someone who's, you know, Roadhog taking a breather, he doesn't need the bubble. We could save it for somebody else instead. Either way, we're still going to capture this checkpoint because, I mean, they figured out that maybe they should have a real tank as we were capturing the second checkpoint, which is a little bit locking the stable door after the horse has already run away, isn't it? So, now we get to defend Hanamura. Now, we do start with the nice bonus that they are definitely tilted after that last round, aren't they? Wouldn't you be tilted after the last round? I'd be tilted after the last round. I guess we lost! And it's bad to be that way, but you know that's what happens. That's what happens when you're there. So, we have a real tank. We have a Reinhardt. Fantastic. They have a Reinhardt too now. So they figured out what their mistake was. That's good. It's important to learn from previous errors. Who do we bubble? Who do we bubble again? This, you know, this is kind of important for Zarya. You know, like, not a lot's really happening. You still can get charge off of the Reinhardt when he's holding the shield up, true enough, but, like, he was kind of backing up pretty far when we put the bubble on him, so it ended up not exactly getting us a lot of charge. So there's a Reaper on their team. This is upsetting, doubtlessly, when you're playing a tank, but not the worst when you're playing Zarya. Because you can bubble the person he's trying to kill, bubble yourself, and you can actually kill Reaper if you've got decent enough energy. Unless the Reaper's, like, really good and just presses right up into you and gets all those headshots in. Then, you know, then you're sad, but as long as we're paying attention to Reaper, it's not that bad as Zarya. It's definitely not as bad as, like, when you're Reinhardt and the Reaper just, like, starts walking through your shield and nobody wants to help you, and you're like, ah, Jesus Christ, oh my god. And that's when you just start hearing Mad World play in the background. So we managed to wipe their team, so, you know, their first push didn't go quite as well as our first push did. So, where's Reinhardt right now? Where did our Reinhardt go? We're just standing in front of him right now. So, you know, it's the sort of thing that's obvious in hindsight, isn't it? Yeah, don't stand around in front of Reinhardt's shield, because that can happen, especially in front of the enemy Reinhardt. You know, if we've got our bubble up, then whatever. You know, it's not unusual for a Zarya to walk through Reinhardt's barrier, bubble, take some damage, walk back again. But if we haven't got our bubble, just kind of like dancing around in front of them, especially like in front of the Reinhardt, who, you know, is going to ult sooner or later. And we know there's a Roadhog over there as well, right? So if like Roadhog jumps around the corner and hooks us, we'll be upset about that one as well. So, you know, it's the kind of like, oh, just don't stand around in front of Reinhardt's barrier. Yeah, you know, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Hindsight's 20/20, isn't it? So he let his barrier break, so Reinhardt's bad. Don't do that. Don't let your barrier break, because then the barrier goes on cooldown, and you don't want that to happen. So, you know, Nano boosted this boy, Reaper jumped in and spam. It was all good times. Their Reaper just used his Wraith form. I would have been a little bit greedier, because I'd poke my head around the corner just to, like, get one zap in on him, because I know he just used Wraith form, so, like, if this dude is, like, half health or something, I'm at 70 charge, I'm gonna kill the guy. Because then, hey, he's dead. And that's always a big benefit over the enemy being alive. Especially someone like Reaper, who can, like, sneak up on you and pick people off. Very inconvenient. So I would have been a little bit greedier and just, like, poke around to see what health he's at. If he was, like, full health, I wouldn't go for it. But if I see the guy's, like, half health, I'm like, I'll do it since you just used Wraith form. And the only other person there was Roadhog, which, I mean, you know, kind of scary. But still not super scary when you're full health and the whole team's nearby. So Roadhog started using the Rudy Tooty Whiz Bang Shooty, which we don't like very much, so we just kind of left that room. Genji's using his ult right now. That's what we were looking for. We were turning around like, where's Genji? But unfortunately, while we were looking for Genji, we got pinned by Reinhardt. They did jump in and throw a fair few ultimates at us. Hardly the end of the world, you know, Hanamura, you kind of expect to lose the first checkpoint. It's the second checkpoint that's the really hard one to capture. Risk of snowball, pretty low, because they used a fair few ultimates to capture that checkpoint. Don't know what ultimates we have right now. Push tab more often, so that we know. We probably pushed tab at some point during this, and I just wasn't looking, because, you know, I'm easily distracted. That bubble, were we trying to get somebody else? We might have been trying to get somebody else with that one. Were we trying to get that guy? We were probably trying to get that guy, and Mercy just flew in front of him. Even that guy, though, I'm like, he's still close. Like, he's still, like, 2/3 health. He'll be fine. Like, I'll save it a little bit longer to see if he's actually in further risk of dying. Just because I'm a greedy boy, and I like to get charged when I use my bubbles, basically. Not that I use Zarya that much, to be honest with you. Because my problem is I'm really bad at using Graviton countering, like, you know, like the worst reason in the world to be bad at Zarya. I'm just really bad at using Graviton for some reason. I can get high charge, no problem. I'm just really bad at using Graviton. I miss all the time, or only hit like one dude with it. Like, so I've just decided I shouldn't play that one. If I'm gonna play an off-tank, I'll just play, like, Diva or something and bully people. Because that's what I really like to do. I like to pick the heroes that push people around. That's why I like Reaper a lot. You just, like, walk up on somebody, you're like, ah, and then you basically get them in a headlock and start noogieing them, right? Like, you know, unless they've got crowd control, in which case I'll go fuck myself. But if they don't, then I'll bully them real good. Or if they can move away from me, so, you know. That can also be sad. But Reaper, you know, if you're in the right circumstance, Reaper's really good at pushing people around. I like those kinds of heroes. When I play League of Legends, I like to play top lane, which is where all of the bruisers go. So a lot of us are suddenly dead. Let's back it up a little bit. So we fell into the pit, which is, you know, not ideal. Being in the pit's kind of unfortunate. We do have Grav. So we fell in here. Oh, fuck. Junkrat got picked off down here, so that sucks. Reinhardt's dying as we return, because he's charging in. He pushed the charge button while he was really low health and had Discord on him. So, you know, it's like, if we weren't in the pit, maybe we could have saved him, because we could have bubbled him when he started doing that, and then, you know, that at least takes Discord off, maybe he'd get healed a little bit, he wouldn't take quite as much damage, maybe he survives. But based off of what I saw when he pushed charge right there, I think Reinhardt probably died regardless, but, you know, there's not a 0% chance that we made him live if we were there to bubble him at the time. So, we used our Graviton here. I would save the Graviton at this point, because basically, like, the Graviton we land isn't very good. This guy's in Wraith form, so he just leaves, so it's just Reinhardt. But also, like, they still have to capture the full checkpoint. That takes a little while to happen. So rather than go for that Graviton, which is almost certainly going to result in nothing happening, I'd actually rather save it for the next attempt at a fight where there might be a better chance of winning. And I would have ended up just not using the Graviton, but like, the chance of that Grav from that position doing anything at all was so low, especially since we were low charge. Like, if we were high charge, we'd be like 100% charge, maybe I'd have gone for it. But like, half the team dead, no charge, I'll actually just gamble on getting one more chance to use it rather than going for it there. And you know, it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you're in that kind of position, you're probably already kind of fucked regardless of what you do. But I'd roll the dice and be like, maybe I'll get one more chance to use it, because this chance is so bad that, like, I'll take any other chance I can get, pretty much. So May's up to no good, walling them off at the spawn, nothing happened. We did bubble her, like, really early, just in case anything happened. Nothing happened, but I mean, you know, negates the risk of her getting picked off, and they still have to get here anyway, so it's fine, you know. If I'm to nitpick, I'd be like, we should probably wait till if we actually see anybody coming, because she's gonna wall off the main entrance, so like, if anybody comes the other way, like if we see someone, but then she might also get hooked, you know, whatever, you know. It's fine. So there goes Reinhardt. Who did we bubble? Because we would have liked to bubble Reinhardt right there, so did we bubble... We just kind of bubbled him right here. Yeah, Reaper popped out behind us, but hey, he's gone. He's leaving now. He still had some of the bubble when he actually pushed charge, so, I mean, you know. He didn't deserve to survive that, but he did, so, hey, that, you know, good for him. Hold on. Back it up just one more time. One more time, back it up. Nope, back it up a little bit more. Yeah, so poking our face out the gate right there, that's super greedy, especially when they have a Roadhog. Because, oh, Reaper's up to no good in the window. Reaper just teleported in. So, you know, we should call that out, really. Because someone called it out. The Moira called it out eventually. We should call that out. We should, you know... We can't really, like, kill him for it, but we could, like... Not a Zarya, anyway, but we could still, like, shoot some shit up at him while he's teleporting. And then he'll be less inclined to continue with going on with what he was doing if he loses, like, you know... a third of his health because we bombed him. So here comes Reaper. Hold on. When did we push E? Right here. Because let's try and be... Oh, we saw Reaper. We could see Reaper through the window, so we could see this way in advance. We should save the bubble right here because we want to see, like, who Reaper goes for, basically. Because if Reaper starts trying to kill, like, Mercy or something, we really want to bubble Mercy. And we saw Reaper pretty in advance, so we should have just saved the bubble to see what he was going to do first. Because if he jumps on somebody and then we can't bubble them, they might die, you know? Which we would like to avoid happening, basically. So Roadhog... Oh, May! Oh, no! The nano-boosted Rudy Tooty Whiz Bang Shooty. And then the Mei walls you off right behind. Ah, God. Doesn't that suck? Oh, there goes Mei. All right, we bubbled Mei. A little bit late, but you know, we were going for it, so that's the important thing. We were trying to bubble her when she got hooked. Now we can't. Oh, this is only Bob. I was like, now we can't bubble this guy when he got pinned. It's Bob. We wouldn't bubble Bob. Ooh, bubble Bob. Nice, nice, nice. Or you know, to give him his proper name, Daddy and or Big Chungus. So Reinhardt, where'd he go? He didn't fall off the edge. What happened here? Where'd he go? Did he just, like, charge and I'm stupid? He did charge. I think he charged above us. So things are going really badly right now. May just used Blizzard, and it's already not, you know, not looking great, to be honest with you. We didn't actually even get to use our bubble before we got hacked. Yeah, we were hacked, purple, you know, fight's not going well. Oh, Major, oh, Mercy tried to res us, but she got hacked. Isn't that sad? You know, the fight's a lot closer than it has any right to be, isn't it? This is one of those ones where you're looking up in the kill feed like, are they gonna do it? Are they actually gonna do it? No, they're not gonna do it. You know, that's one of those fights where you bait people in, because now this dude's running up, and he's just going to get clapped immediately, because it's one of those ones where you're like, he might actually do it, right? And then you end up baiting in the Moira, who goes up to the point when the fight's lost, and she gets clapped, and then she's staggered. They still have to capture the checkpoint, so it's not the end of the world, but dying at a really bad time when they capture the first checkpoint can really easily end up in just you getting snowballed over immediately. So they came right down the center last time, and that's exactly what they're going to do again. People, you know, they tend to do the same thing a few times, you know. People are, you know, something definition of insanity, which is not actually the definition of insanity, but you know. It wouldn't have sounded quite as good if Saz was like, have I ever told you the definition of insanity? And then proceeded to list out the, like, 10 criteria, you know? That's not quite as punchy, is it? We got emped before we got pinned and lost all our shields, didn't we? No, we actually just got shot instead. The emp was basically just, you know, some fireworks after it's all over, pretty much. So this is a really messy fight because Mei's wall has kind of put us in a weird spot. Yeah, it's basically like basically like be aware of Reinhardt and don't get pinned, or like bubble before you get pinned, pretty much. We didn't really need to move as close to Roadhog as we did, you know, to be fair, because if we're a little bit further back, this maybe doesn't happen to us, right? Zarya's actually got like decent range, and we're just like walking right up into Roadhog's face, which is where Roadhog would like us to be. And I mean, he's frozen and getting bullied, so you know, but if we're gonna, you know, if we're gonna nitpick to as much as possible, then we didn't need to be as close as we were. And if we were a little bit further back, that probably wouldn't have happened to us. Now, does that likely change the outcome of this fight? Debatable. It's not exactly going well, is it? So now we're gonna use Graviton. Oh no. He's got Transcendence, so no fun will be allowed today. Ah, but here comes the Blizzard. Fantastic news. And now Zen can't use his Transcendence for that one, at least. Mercy should not have done that. That was a bad idea from Mercy. Just, yeah, indulge me on this one for a second. So we bubbled ourselves as well, right? Yes. So Mercy absolutely shouldn't be doing this, right? Like, Mercy has made a mistake to do this, but we could try and get between her and Reaper and body block for her instead, because we can still body block. You know, we didn't have our bubble up to use on her, but we do still have our own body and our own bubble as well, so we could have actually tried to get between them and body block for her. And, you know, she might have still died anyway. Maybe she lives long enough to get the res off. Maybe she lives. Maybe we don't get there at all, and nothing changes. You know? But we could have tried to body block for her and keep her alive instead, seeing as we didn't have our own bubble. So Reaper's teleporting. He's up to no good. I don't think he used Death Blossom during the last fight. Here comes Reinhardt, he got walled. Reaper is behind us right now. Yep, I heard him land behind us, so I knew he was back there. Sounds important, he said, never listening to the video game himself, because I like to put on very loud music. Because what's the point of having music on if it isn't going to be loud enough to cause me hearing problems later in life? So that went great. As long as we can capture the first checkpoint, we can't lose anymore. And we've got just under 6 minutes to work with, so we've got all the time in the world. It's always very liberating when you're like, I can't lose anymore. I can just not win, which is fine. Whereas then they will be like, great. Fucking awesome. I mean, the video doesn't have 6 minutes left, so I think we can infer roughly what's going to happen. Unless it just cuts out in the middle of the fight, I suppose. You know, it could also do that. So, they don't have a tank again, which is, you know, you'd think they'd have learned by now, wouldn't you? But apparently not. So, we just walk right up on over here, and, you know, if we didn't see a lot of people on our way up, so there was it was a little scary that we might run into like a super nested turret in here, right? Like we might come around this corner and see like Reinhardt sat in front of a bastion with 3 Symmetra turrets around him. You know, that's the kind of shit that happens in this video game sometimes. But no, they did have a bastion, but their only tank appears to be Roadhog, so not exactly ideal bastion composition, is it? So this fight was kind of a clusterfuck. Let's back it up a little bit and reassess. So we basically just bubbled the first person we saw, which resulted in us getting a bunch of charge, so, you know, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, we just got hooked and then basically killed from that point because we didn't have our bubble. And so the moral was, don't get hooked. Why, thank you, Professor. No problem, my child. I live to enlighten you. So, anyway, at this point I'd consider changing to Roadhog just because, like, I'll kill Bastion, pretty much. Because, you know, pretty much the only way, like, we lose to that comp is, like, Bastion kills a bunch of people, right? So, or Symmetra kills a bunch of people, I suppose, as well. That's pretty much what happens versus that comp. So, I'd probably change to Roadhog just to try and make sure that can't happen, because I can always just hook the Bastion. But, I mean, Zarya is also still fine. You know, Graviton is still good. High charge Zarya is still good. All that. So, that didn't really accomplish too much for Reinhardt, but he was purple at the time and kind of low health, so it at least purges that off of him so he can get healed a little bit faster. Yeah, you know, their team comp was really bad. They really learned nothing about defending, did they? Just, you know. And the worst part is they had a Reinhardt while they were attacking. So, you know. Whatever. Greyhound. That's very close to Grey Fox, who would be Genji. So, you know. Oh my god. When you look at the Dragon Blade and he misses a bunch of times. That's one of those ones that you watch and you're like, why was that play of the game? I'm sure better things happened in that game than that one. So, I can't think of anything overarching to say because we kind of talked about a few different things. Mostly, like, nitpicky stuff, to be honest with you. And, you know, percentage, chances, you know, boring stuff, pretty much. Yeah, there you go. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. And I hope you found the video helpful.